Good morning guys, and welcome to Picama Stitches. Today I'm going to run us through on how to make this beautiful wide leg palazzo with 3 yards of Ankara print. So let's get right into it guys. So I'm working with 3 yards of Ankara fabric. I've cut out what I need for the front, and the front piece is on fold. And for the elastic, I'm going to be using a 1.5-inch elastic. You can use the 1-inch elastic, but I decided to use the 1.5-inch elastic. So let's get right into our cutting. So my fabric is folded into 2, like I said earlier. Okay, and then I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch at the top part here. Now, to get the width of what to fold, the biggest part of your lower body, which is your hip, divided by 4 plus minimum 7 inches or 8 inches if you have enough fabric, but I added 7 inches to my hip measurement divided by 4. I hope you understand. So your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 7 or 8 inches is fine. And then at the top part here, I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch, which will serve as allowance to join my waistband. Now for my waistband, I'm going to be subtracting 2 inches, 1.5 each for my elastic and then 1/2 inch for ease, okay, and to join to this. So after subtracting your 2 inches, just the way you see me do, you're going to mark down your hip point. For me, my hip point is 10 inches. After my hip point, I'm going to be marking my crotch depth. Now to get your crotch, divide your hip by 4. Now since I want this to have a little bit of ease, I'm going to be adding 1 inch to what I have as my hip measurements, okay, for me to have some ease. You can add 1.5, okay, but I added 1 inch for ease. And now still minusing and subtracting your 2 inches waistband, I'm going to be marking the full length of this my palazzo knicker, a bit trouser, sorry. So I'm going to be working with 43 inches plus hemming allowance, okay. I'm marking 43 inches. Sorry, my camera didn't capture all of that, but I marked 43 inches at the hem, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these lines out, okay, connect it into a straight line, my hip line, my crotch line. Now you won't need your thigh line because this is a wide leg palazzo, okay. It's not a fitted pants, but for a fitted pants you will need that, okay. But this is a wide leg palazzo, so we don't need our thigh measurement. So go ahead and extend all your lines out. Now after extending all my lines out, what we're going to do next is to go ahead and take our measurements at the waist. Now at the waist part, you're not going to be using your waist measurements. Remember, we're using elastic. We need to get enough fullness as possible. So I'm going to be using my hip measurements at my waist point, okay. I'm using my hip measurements divided by 4. Then I'm adding 4 inches to this, okay, to help me get more space for my elastic and to get more fullness. So I'm adding 4 inches to what I have at the waist, okay. So that's my hip divided by 4 plus 4 inches. So I'm going to take this marking all the way to my hip and also to my crotch depth. Extend this into a straight line. And I made a mistake, sorry, while connecting this line, so I decided to straighten it out. So can you see what I have? Extend that line, the same thing all the way to your crotch. Can you see that line wasn't straight? I had to correct that. Now on your crotch line, to get your crotch extension, you're going to divide your hip round by 4. I hope you understand. My hip divided by 4 is 11.5. Now you divide that 11.5 by 4 again, okay. What you have, you mark it there. That you divide it by 2 and divide it by 2 again. Whatever you have, that's what you use to extend your crotch. And then I went in by 1 inch at the corner like you saw me do, and I connected my crotch and we're done. Now for some persons, from that crotch line they can decide to take it straight down, but I didn't want my leg to be too wide. So at the lower part, I'm going to be minusing 3 inches from what I have, and I'll connect it to my crotch. If you want the fullness you saw on me, okay, the video at the beginning of this tutorial, you can go ahead and subtract 3 inches. But if you want it to be wider than this, just connect it straight down from your crotch all the way to the hem of your fabric. It depends on the fullness you want to achieve and the fabric you have to play around with. Now remember, whatever you're doing in front, you need to do more at the back. So consider your fabric. So go ahead and connect. I marked the same thing, okay, just had a straight line, connected exactly what I had at the hem, connected it to the crotch part, and we're done with the front. It's as simple as that. So that's all for the front piece. I'm going to go ahead now to cut this out. So just go ahead and cut out your crotch, your hip, the leg of the palazzo. Just go ahead and cut it out. Now this beautiful free dress for this hot weather you see me putting on, I have a tutorial, a detailed tutorial on this channel on how to make this, okay? I don't know how the weather is over there where you are, but where I am, the weather is so hot, so you need free stuff like this to wear on you. So the tutorial is on the channel. Please kindly watch, like and subscribe. So after cutting out our front piece, we go ahead and fold to cut the back. Now this is the fabric I have left. I'm going to be folding this into 2. Now remember, your back piece has to be wider than the front piece, okay, because we're going to be extending the crouch point, the upper part, and also the inner area. You will see all of that. So I folded my fabric into 2. I'm going to bring in my front piece like you see me do. I'm laying it on it. Ensure you have allowance at the top here, at the crouch here, because we'll be adding some allowances to that, okay? So I'm trying to align this. I'm seeing that the fabric I have here is too much, it's excess. I don't want to waste my fabric, okay? So I'm going ahead to adjust. I just need to have minimum of 3 inches at the crotch area, and then my allowance at the top part, and I'm fine with that. So I'll go ahead and extend some more. This allowance is not up to 3 inches, okay? So go ahead and take your time. Make sure you have allowance at the crotch, make sure you have allowance at the top part of your pants, okay? And that's all that you need. Then the legs must align at the lower part. It must align. I intentionally did 43 inches, so I'll have 2 inches at the top part for the pants. Remember, Ankara comes in length 45, okay? So you need that allowance. When you're working with Ankara print, you need to be very careful, okay? Now this to show us that for a plus size, you can still get that full length and wide leg palazzo trouser with 3 yards of Ankara print, okay? So I'm going ahead to pin this in place. Make sure this inner part aligns, okay? All we need is this part and the top part. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do our marking. Now at this crotch area, I'm going to extend it as well by what I extended my crotch in front with, okay? Remember what we extended in front, your hip divided by 4 divided by 2 divided by 2. So that's what I'm going out by at this back piece. I don't want this palazzo to be snug in between my leg, okay? It needs to be as free as possible. So at this top part, for a big butt, you're going to be extending by 2.5 like you see me do all the way. But for a slim person, you can do 2 inches, okay? Okay, so I'm connecting all the corners with 2.5 inch. I'll connect them all the way to my back crouch area. Just connect yours the way you see me do. For a slim person, do 2 inches. For a plus size like myself, I did 2.5 inches. Now go ahead and connect these lines like you see me do. Can you see what we have here? Now at this top part, I'm going to be extending by 1.5 or maximum 2 inches. So I'm going to be using everything that I have here. For a slim person, you can do 1.5. If you have up to 2 inches, use it for a plus size. So I'll connect it in a slanted manner to the front waistline. Just slant it the way you see me do here. Just connect it in a slanted manner, and that's what you have. Okay, that's all for that upper part. Make sure it touches the waist of the front piece, and you connect it that way. Now when you're done, you can go ahead and mark the same 2.5 inches at this inner part all the way to the hem, or you can decide to do 2 inches, but I decided to do the same 2.5 all the way to the hem of the pants, and the back piece is done. Now all these allowances at the waist and all will help your trouser to be free on you. You will have enough ease, and then at the waist you have enough fabric for your elastic to have that fullness. Okay, you saw how full it was on me and even on my body. So if you need that effect, you kindly do the same thing, and that's it. It's as simple as that. So go ahead and cut this out. Please, if you've watched this tutorial up to this point and you've not given this video a thumbs up, please kindly do that, so I won't display all the powers that I have. Don't mind me, guys. Please kindly like and subscribe for more interesting tutorials, and share as well. So just go ahead and cut like you see me do. Now we'll have a beautiful tutorial loading, and if you would like to suggest a tutorial you'd like me to make on this channel, please kindly let me know in the comments, and then I'll give you a WhatsApp number to send your request to. Now go ahead and open all of these, both front and back pieces, open them up into 2. Now after opening them up, can you see we have 2 pieces for the front, 2 pieces for our back trouser. Okay, now we're going to be marking for our pockets. I'll be adding pocket to this. From the waist, come down by ½ inch. The half of an inch is to attach our waistband, and then from that ½ inch mark down 1 inch, meaning from the waist you're marking down 1.5 inches. Then go ahead and notch it on both 4 pieces. Okay, that's where we're going to be attaching our pockets to. So we're done with the front and back. We'll go ahead now to cut out our pockets. I have this small fabric left. Remember, we're working with 3 yards, so I really managed this and it came out beautiful. I love it. I'm folding this into 2. We're going to be cutting out 4 pieces for our fabric. At the length here, I have 10 inches. Okay, I used 10 inches for my pocket. I want it to be that full. So the simple way to cut out your pocket, just place your hand and follow just trace it out. Make a round curve like you see me do to this other part. That's it. It's as simple as that for this inseam pocket. Now at this lower part, ensure you have minimum 8 inches. Okay, it mustn't be too wide and it mustn't be too small. I used 8 inches by 10 inches. The length is 10 inches. The opening for the pocket is 8 inches. So after cutting out these 2, I'm going to cut out 2 as well, so that we'll have 2 pockets for the front, 2 pockets for the back piece. So I'm going ahead to trim this and make sure it's well aligned. So I'll fold this as well. Okay, I was trying to trace this out. Let me see how I can manage this fabric. So I'm just going ahead now to cut out, make sure I have 4 pockets. So go ahead and cut out yours, okay, but make sure you have 4 pieces of this for your pockets to come out beautiful. So we have pocket number 3. We're going ahead now to cut pocket number 4. So this fabric has given us our complete pockets. Okay, I'm taking my time to show us this part, so you know you can always manage your fabric. If you need to join, you can join. Okay, but make sure you have 4 pieces of this. Please kindly hit the like button. Hit it, give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe, and also share. Thank you so much, guys. So we're done with cutting out our 4 pockets, and then at those notched points that we made, those are the places we're going to be attaching these pockets to. So this is what we have: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2 for each part, 2 for each part. So I'm going to bring in my trouser again, and then I'll show us how to attach this when you get to your sewing machine. So you're going to open this up. Okay, I'm taking out my pins. Okay, first sew up the crotch area for the front and sew up the back crotch area for the back with 1/2 inch. Okay, so after sewing up the crotch, this is what we have. Okay, can you see this is the front part? This is what we have. And then for the back piece, I've also gone ahead to join the crotch area with 1/2 inch as well, and this is what we have for our back crotch. So this notch point is going to be our guide. I'm going to go ahead now and place my pockets at the notched area. Now you're going to ensure that you're placing right sides of your pocket facing the right sides of your fabric, just the way you see me do. The straight part is going to be facing, just place it the way you see me do. The notch area, can you see? You place your fabric right sides facing each other this way, and you sew it straight down. You repeat the same for this other side, and then you repeat it as well for the back piece. Okay, and I'll do that and show us what we have. So after attaching my pockets, can you see what we have? Okay, I have joined the pockets, and then I've gone ahead to join the sides as well. Can you see what we have? I've sewn down the sides. After joining the pockets, I sewed down the sides. So go ahead and bring in the two fronts, the crotch for both front and back. Make sure this seam line aligns. Make use of your pin, please. Pin it in place. Make sure the both thread lines are matching. You pin it down, and then you're going to be sewing with 1/2 inch from the center to one side, to one leg, and from the center to the other leg. But before that, I'm going to be hemming the lower part of this my pants. Okay, I'll go ahead and sew. Just sew up from inner part to the leg and from the inner part to the other leg. And when you're done, go ahead and hem the lower part, fold in 1/2 inch, and you can fold in 1 inch depending on how much allowance you left. Okay, now after doing that, I've gone ahead to iron out my pants. Always make sure you iron while working. Can you see I've hemmed the lower part neatly and ironed it out? And then this is the top part. This is so beautiful. I'm loving this pants already. Can you see how wide the waist is? Okay, now this will give us enough, will give our elastic enough room. Now make sure while shaping the side you open up like 1 inch on one part, okay, because that's where we're going to be attaching our waistband. Can you see our pockets sitting pretty inside and neat? Okay, now from one part you're going to open up that open part. Okay, this part you left open on one side, you're going to measure round your waist. You're going to measure this round back to the other open part. You can take your time and measure this twice, or whatever you have, make sure you add some allowance to it. Like I always say, it's always better to have excess than to have shortage. So if you have, like I had 65, I had to cut 68 inches. Okay, so if you have excess, you can always trim it off. So I'm measuring round to the other part. So I've measured round, and what I have, I'm going to use this to cut on my waistband. So I had 65 inches, but I'm going to be cutting out 68 inches. Now my waist round is 39 inches. So I cut two pieces of this fabric. Okay, I'm going to join them together for my waistband, join them at the top part, and then I'll iron it out. So I have 68 inches of two different fabric. So after ironing it out, this is what I have for my waistband. So the width of it is 2.5 inches. Okay, but I later trimmed it to 2 inches. Okay, 1/2 inch, can you see the joining? 1/2 inch to join to the waist, and then 1.5 is my waistband, then 1/2 will be for ease. Okay, can you see what I have here? I had 2.5 inches. Okay, and this is enough to go around my waist. So I'm going to bring back my trouser. at the open parts, that's where you're going to be joining from. Please ensure the both parts of your waistband is open so you can pass in your elastic freely. Okay, so go ahead and place it the way you see me do and join from one part to the other parts. Now I'm going ahead to fix in my waistband. Can you see? I'll go ahead to weave all these rough edges later. Okay, can you see this part is open on both sides, so my elastic can go in through this opening. When we're done, we're going to seal it up. So this is what we have. I'm going to be bringing in my elastic. Now for your elastic, I don't want this trouser to be too tight. If you want yours to be tight, you can subtract 5 inches from your waist round to cut your elastic, but I subtracted 3 inches from my waist round. My round waist is 39. I subtracted 3 inches and I cut out 36 inches for my waistband. Okay, so that's what I used. I didn't want it to be too tight on me. So if you want yours to be tight, you can go ahead and subtract 5 inches. So I have 36 inches here of my waistband. Can you see? So I'm going to bring in my safety pin. I'm going to be using my safety pin to put in through the elastic. Okay, can you see the way I do it? Now from the open parts, that part we left open on the sides, I'm going to pass in my elastic to that point and I'll push it in all the way till it comes out at the other part. Then you go to your sewing machine and stitch it in place so your elastic doesn't come out. Okay, from this other part, I'll go ahead and pass it in and then I'll show us what we have. So can you see, guys, this is looking so beautiful. After fixing in your elastic, make sure you spread it out. Okay, let it be even on all sides. Can you see this opening here? So once you're done, you're going to have stitched it down. Can you see I've stitched my elastic in place? Now you put these right sides facing each other like you see me do and close up that opening. Okay, and you close it up with 1/2 inch. Okay, like you did for the other side. Okay, can you see our elastic? Now we're going to be adding more design, adding more thread lines to this waistband. So from you stretch it out like this as you sew. From the top, I'll come down by 1/2 inch, stretch it out and sew. From the lower part, I'll go up by 1/2 inch and sew. Now after sewing, let me bring this up close for you guys to see so you understand. Can you see what I have here? I sewed 1/2 inch on the waistband and on the elastic, but as you sew, make sure you pull it. Can you see the way I'm pulling? And you have this same effect. Okay, now I also went ahead to make a little rope just to design at the front. Can you see what we have? We had already hemmed the lower parts. This palazzo is so beautiful. Please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys. Can you see the back, what we have at the back piece? So these are my pockets. Okay, I really love pockets on a palazzo. Okay, it looks so cute. So please kindly give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, guys. So this is what we have. I made a little rope. Okay, the length of this rope is 30 inches. I didn't want it to be so long. I folded in 1/4 inch on both sides and then I sewed it down. I cut out 1.5 inch of strip of fabric and folded on both sides and sew it down. And I just tied one edge. I knotted the edges. Okay, the both edges, I knot them down the way you see me do. That's the design I want. Now on your center line, the center of your pants, which is your crotch line, just follow your crotch line. I'm going to place this the way you see me do and just stitch it down at that point. Okay, just to have a rope dangling in front. Okay, and that's the end of our tutorial. Can you see our beautiful pants? I love this so much. So with 3 yards of Ankara print, you can always perform a beautiful magic. So thank you, guys. Bye bye till I see you next time. Now this is how it looks on me. I really love this. I had to rock it the very next day. Till I see you guys next time. Have a great day.